Good morning, students. In History Part, Unit 1, today we are going to see about the Vedic culture in North India and Megalithic culture in South India. In this session, today we will see about the Vedic culture in North India and also to know about the origin and migration of Aryans into India and the sources of study relating to the Vedic Age. Vedic Age. The first phase of urbanization in India came to an end with the decline of Indus civilization. A new era called Vedic Age began with the arrival of Aryans. Aryans is originally a term used as a self designation by Indo Iranian peoples in ancient times. The Aryans were a group of people who lived in thousands of years ago in northern India. The Aryans came from somewhere in Central Asia. They moved into Persia and India after 2000 BC. Vedic Age. It is a period in the history of India between 1500 BC, BCE, 600 BC, BCE. It gets its name from four Vedas. Aryans' beliefs and daily lives are described in the four Vedas. Veda means knowledge. The Vedas are composed of the Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva Vedas. The Aryans were Indo-Aryan language speaking, semi-nomadic pastoralist. Nomadic is nothing but a way of people who do not live continuously in a same place. Nomadic pastoralist means they depend on domesticated livestock. They came from Central Asia in several waves of migration through Khyber Pass of Hindu Kush mountains. Cattle rearing was their main occupation. Slash and burn agriculture. It is a farming method that involves clearing the land by cutting and burning all the trees and plants on it. Cultivation is done there for a short time and then abandoned. People then move to a new piece of land for cultivation. Most Aryans were nomadic cattle herders. They practiced slash and burn agriculture, then they cut the trees on a plot of land to create the field. After, when the vegetation had dried, they set it on fire. Let's see the time, spread, and sources of Vedic culture. Geographical ranges North India. Period Iron Age. Time 1500 BC BCE to 600 BC BCE. Sources Vedic literature. Nature of civilization rural. Let's see Aryans and their home in India. Aryans of the Rig Vedic period were semi nomadic. They were basically pastoral people with cattle as their main source of wealth. Pastoral people is nothing but a people keep animals such as cows and sheep to feed off the land. The Aryans' homeland was the Punjab, which was at the time called Sapta Sindhu, the land of seven rivers. They were Ganga, Yamuna, Sindhu, Kaveri, Godavari, Saraswati and Narmada. Or seven rivers are considered as a sacred Sapta Sindhu. These rivers covers most of the parts of undivided India. Around 1000 BC BCE, Aryans in India moved eastward and settled in Indo-Gangetic plain. Use of iron axes and plug became widespread. From axes and plug are very helpful them to clear the jungles easily so that the Vedic people extend the settlements into the western area. Students, this Vedic literature can be classified into two categories such as Shruti, Smriti. Shruti contains all the four Vedas that is Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva. And then Brahmanas, Aranyakas. Aranyakas are the third part of the Vedas. It means forest. It tells about the importance of meditative, spiritual aspects of rituals and ceremonies. And then Upanishads. Upanishads is nothing but sitting near down. If a person wants to get the knowledge from Guru, he wants to sit under the Guru. Smriti contains Idihasas, Puranas, Sutras. Idihasas means Ramayana, Mahabharata. Puranas means Shiva Purana, Vishnu Purana. Sutras, Dharma Sutra, Manusmriti, Narada Smriti. Let's see about Shrutis. The Shrutis comprise the four Vedas, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, and the Upanishad. Students note it carefully. Shruti means listening or unwritten. And this was transmitted orally through the generation to generation. Let's see about Smritis. Smritis means a body of text containing teachings on religion such as Idihasa, Puranas, Tantras and Agamas. Smriti are not eternal. It has no beginning or end. They are constantly revised. Students note it carefully. Smriti means definite and written literature. Shruti means listening or unwritten. Classification of Vedic Age. It was classified into two phases. One is early Rig Vedic period, 1500 to 1000 BC BCE, and the other one is later Vedic period, 1000 to 600 BC BCE. Let's see our national motto. Satyameva Jayate. Truth alone triumphs is taken from Mundaka Upanishad. Archaeological sources. Iron implements and pottery from the archaeological sites in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan along the Indus and the Ganges. Let's see the Vedic culture of polity and society. The Rig Vedic polity was kinship based. Kinship based polity is nothing but it is commonly found in tribal societies. The rule and the power should be distributed among the family members alone. And then Kula. Kula means clan, was a basic unit of the polity. The basic unit of polity was a family. The family was headed by the eldest male member. Several families joined together to form a grama. Grama means village. Grama was headed by Gramani. A group of villages was called Vis. Vis means clan and was headed by Vishyapati. Rajan was the head of the Jana. Jana means tribe or people, and he was addressed as Janasya Gopa, guardian of the people. There were several tribal kingdoms. Kingdoms means Rashtas. There were several tribal kingdoms during the Rig Vedic period, that is Bharatyas, Martyas and Puras. Let's see about the responsibilities of king during early Vedic period and the later Vedic period. The main responsibility of the Rajan was to protect his tribe. Rajan means what? King. Tribe means people. The protection of the people was a primary duty of the king. His powers were limited by tribal assemblies, namely Vidata, Sabha, Samithi and Gana. The king was assisted by the number of officials. They were called as Vidata, Sabha, Samithi and Gana. Of these, Vidata was the oldest one. Vidata means the tribal assembly. Sabha means the council of elders. Samithi means assembly of people. Gana means councils or assembly. The king appointed a Prohit, chief priest, to assist him. The king was assisted by the Senani, army chief. Gramani was the leader of the village. Purohit was the chief advisor and spiritual teacher of the king. The Senani and the Gramina were the other two officials. Senani means military commander. Gramani means the village officer. His power was restricted by the two popular assemblies called Sabha and Samithi. Hereditary kingship began to emerge. It is nothing but the people could select the king from the family members. In the monarchical form of government, the power of the king increased and he performed various rituals and sacrifice to make his position strong. It is nothing but the titles such as king, queen, emperor or empress. This means when the king or queen dies, a son or daughter will rule the country. Bali was a voluntary contribution of the people to the king. In the early Vedic period, the tax was voluntarily given to the emperor. Let's see what is meant by Bali. A tax consisting of 1/6 of the agricultural produce or cattle for a person. Let's see the importance of Samithi. The importance of Samithi and Sabha diminished and the Vidata completely disappeared. His power was restricted by the two popular assemblies called Samithi and Sabha. The king did not enjoy absolute power in the early Vedic age as there was a tribal kingship. Bali was treated as tax and collected regularly. In the early Vedic period, Bali was voluntarily given to the king, but in the later Vedic period, it was collected as a compulsory. The Kuru and the Panchala kingdoms flourished and large cities like Ayodhya, Indraprastha and Madura also emerged during this period. Let's see the social structure during the Rig Vedic periods was patriarchal in character. The Vedic family was patriarchal. Fair complexion Aryans called Dasyas, dark complexion called Dasas. Early Vedic society can be classified into three types. Vis means general public. Kshatriyas means warrior class. Brahmanas means priestly class. General public were called as Vis. Warrior class is nothing but who experience in war and battle. They were called as Kshatriyas. Priestly class is nothing but leading prayers or other religious functions. They were called as Brahmanas. When the Aryans had to accommodate non-Aryan skilled workers in the social arrangement, a fourfold Varna system was developed. In the early Vedic society, there were only three divisions, Vis, Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. But in later Vedic period, they accommodate workers as a non-Aryan. So, fourfold Varna system was developed. In later Vedic society, Vis general public, Kshatriyas warrior class, Brahmanas priestly class, Sudras skilled workers were called as Sudras. Although the Vedic age is evidenced by good number of text, it does not have adequate amount of material evidences. Let's see the status of early Vedic period and later Vedic period. The wife was respected as a mistress of the household. Child marriage and sati were unknown. There was no bar on the remarriage of widows. During the early Vedic period, women enjoyed a position and they were treated as equal with men in every walk of life. Without the wife, they could not perform any rituals. The women were given education like men. Monogamy was a usual rule in the early Vedic period. Monogamy is nothing but married to only one person at a time. But in the later Vedic period, the women were denied right to inherit property from their parents. Usually, the property passed from father to son, and the daughters were not given any share. Women were not participated in any rituals in the family. The rules of marriage become much more complex and rigid, and the polygamy also exists in the later Vedic period. Polygamy means practice of being married to more than one person at the same time. Polygamy became common. Widow remarriage was not encouraged in the later Vedic period. Education was denied to women, but in the early Vedic period, women were given education like men. Intercaste marriages were spurned. Let's see the economic life of Vedic period. Economy in the Vedic period was sustained by the combination of pastoralism and agriculture. Occupation of Rig Vedic Aryans was cattle rearing, carpenters, potters, smiths, weavers and leather workers. Ochre colored pottery OCP was attributed to this period. In the early Vedic period, ochre colored pottery was attributed. The people were domesticated horses, cows, goats, sheep, oxen and dogs. In the later Vedic period, the Aryans tamed elephants apart from cow, goat, sheep and horse. In the early Vedic period, they domesticated only horses, cows, oxen, dogs and sheep. But in the later Vedic period, they domesticated elephants also. In addition, there was also jewelers, dyers and smelters. In the early Vedic period, the occupation of Rig Vedic Aryans was cattle rearing, carpenters, chariot makers, potters, smith, weavers and leather workers. But in later Vedic period, there was also included jewelers, dyers and smelters. Pottery of this period was painted by grey ware culture. Use of iron plug and axe helped to put more areas of land under cultivation. In early Vedic period, after settled in Punjab, they began to practice agriculture. They cultivated stable crop as barley. There was no evidence of cultivated wheat and cotton, but the Indus people cultivated both the wheat and cotton in Rig Veda. Trade became extensive. Barter system was prevalent, exchange of goods. They used Niksha, Satmana, gold coins. And Krishnala, silver coins for business transaction. In next class, we will see about the education and religion of Vedic period and the Megalithic culture in South India. Let's see today's activity. Mention 2 Idihasas and Iron Age cities in Tamil Nadu.